One tower bomber, one tower radiation is an achievement in Bloons Tower Defense 6 where you have to complete an entire game of chimps using just the Master Bomber and the Energizer. Just kidding, it's a 2TC achievement. Master Bomber and the Energizer we are going to be using today in this tale. Will we succeed? Let's find out. Or the title of the video would already assign if it was a success or an attempt. And for my next trick, Submarine. Speaking of my next trick, we need to get Flash Bomb for round 28. But when we get Flash Bomb, we'll get that discipline because we need that discipline for that nice increase in attack speed. There's not really any point going the decamo and distraction route. I mean, we can already decamify balloons and in a much better way called Submarine Support. Not that we need to decamo using the submarine because the ninja here by default can see and pop camo balloons, one of its stronger traits. Just like Psy, just like with Azili, just like with Sorda, and just like with Silas, question mark? I haven't really played with Silas a lot in this game, but does he also have innate camo detection without needing to level up? Almost forgot about purchasing our upgrades thinking we were better off, but I realized we do not have these diddly little caltrops, these wannabe spike piles. Don't know if this is correct. I think someone can correct me in the comment sections below, but I think the only way to strengthen your caltrops is by actually going towards a Grandmaster Ninja 502 because they buffed its damage or pierce or whatever it is. Not too recently, but feels recent enough to recall the damage or pierce increase of the caltrops when paired with Grandmaster Ninja. Not that you're getting Grandmaster Ninja to increase the potential of your caltrops anyways. And who needs regular shurikens when you can have sharp ones? And who needs single gun when you can have twin guns? When one gun doesn't solve a problem, you have even more gun. And who needs twin gun when your twin guns can burst outwards? For just 540, you have the potential to have your submarine pop balloons throughout the entire map. I say potential, not guaranteed. Just depends on where your other towers are. On the field, if we go off the Orc philosophy, we should have big towers enabled because after all, big is best. When I was first introduced to Warhammer 40k, I don't really see the point of orcs. Like, they don't take life seriously, but as I got older, I really appreciate the humor that they bring in an otherwise one of the most darkest and most grim fantasy settings that you could probably think of in human history ever conjured of. If you ever heard of the Dark Eldar or the Drukhari, you would wish you would be dead rather than a prisoner of one of those horrific, disgusting things. Like Submarine Support and plutonium reactor, baby! We do need that radiation. And let me give you a question. Which do we go for first? Do we go for Master Bomber first, or do we go with Energizer first? Put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. The real ones would say, would you die to a yellow balloon? Yeah, this particular combination has only been done on logs and this map, Spar Pit, so it's going to be interesting if I can replicate that record. Fortified ceramics, no problem. Regular ceramics, but in more numbers, no problem. Also, who needs twin airburst gun? We could just irradiate the entire area in which you have the range of irradiating. 49 with the ceramics and many greens and the regrow rainbows at the end, but it doesn't matter because they are suffering from radiation damage. Not that there's such a class as radiation damage. I'm just calling it that because when you're in the area of this radiation, it gives you damage. The old days where plutonium reactor grants normal damage type regardless of your cross pathing. But I understand, metal has some resistance to radiation and all that jazz. Although I can think of one kind of radiation that has the normal damage type. It's called a star. You know, the blinding sun in the day sky. If you ever happen to look out of your window and not play 18 hours of balloons a day to get #1 on a particular leaderboard of any kind. But then again, that's just a huge hyperbole. Is there an achievement where you create zombies from a Moab with the bee skin? No, there's no such thing. Because they sound the same. Bees! Zombies! Actually, hypothetically, if there was such a thing as bees but zombified, I think we'll be living in a very different world right now. In fact, we might not even be living. Round 60 BFB and they all go down. Just like with the others. We grow zebras, not a problem. This will become important later on. Possibly later on. Okay. Fortified Moabs, you will go down with one sticky bomb just like with the others. Okay, round 63. Let me show you that the reason why we need to get Energizer first is for this kind of scenario. Even if we somehow manage to get through 63, 76 and 78 are still going to be rounds which will suffer on greatly. But can we do it with just this build? Just about, actually. But I'm going to go with Energizer first because it's going to be the safer route to clear out the masses. Because of the synergy that these two towers have of each other, you being a Moab killer and you being a ceramic killer, you would imagine that it have many more maps under its belts. Well, you got to be able to crack that Moab shell to begin with, and that is why this combination has only been done on 2 maps. Arguably 2 of the easiest maps in the entire game. Actually, little known fact, if you do unsubmerge it and have airburst darts, airburst darts actually does much more damage against, I think it is just Moab class balloons, or maybe it is just balloons in general. Hold on. You're instantly killing the rainbows, but that could just be the airburst dart mechanic, and not just the damage itself. Round 70. For a particular combination, I'm looking at you, Golden Justice and Adora. You kept me for hours on end. But on many other combinations, round 70 is just any other round. But for some niche combinations, it can be an absolute pest. As expected, the Energizer is absolutely clearing house when it comes to ceramics. They do not stand a chance unless we're in late game. And for some odd reason, there will still be a Moab going around this part of the map. And I don't think the Energizer has enough time to take care of everything. Which is why, ideally, you would want your Moabs to all be popped before they go around the last circle here. Before they reach to this last half circle, which is where the end of the map is. Let's see how the Energizer does against level 76. Round 76 was an achievement and a half. For most other towers, for the Energizer, it was a breeze. Oh yeah, 77. Done and dusted. Now just round 78. And I believe we could be able to get the Master Bomber at the end of this round, or if not the beginning of 79. Let's see how this goes. So the BFB has been taken care of. Now it's just a question of these ceramics here. No, don't think we'll even pierce character there. That's brilliant. Okay, 79. We got our Master Bomber at the end of 78. For the time being, I'm going to keep you on strong, because you do moderate damage against like the regular Moab. So I'm just interested in descaling them at the moment as quickly as possible, so that the clear up can be done by the Energizer. But much later on, when we get into the 90s, yeah, I think this is the equivalent of Jack against Moab class balloons. Now it's quite important to go with airburst darts because it does increase the damage or the time it takes for the radiation per tick to do damage against the balloons here. But if you went for the middle crossbar for any given reason, like your other tower at the time didn't have any lead popping potential, so let's say for example Energizer and the Mad, quite a good combination because this can clear up all the ceramics and the Mad can clear up any pesky, well, Moab class problems. You wouldn't be able to have lead popping until you get Hydro Rocket Pods, and that is impossible to get before round 28. But for that reason, you would have to go with 520 Energizer because of Heat Tip Dust providing that early game lead popping. Another example would be Spirit of the Forest and the Mad, you know, getting hard thorns, which is what you would get anyways. I don't think I've ever seen a single example where 052 Spirit of the Forest is better in any way, shape or regard than the, or at least for 150, obviously a little bit extra for the 250. I honestly think that by getting the Heart of Thunder, it should sort of electrify the thorns on the ground, either giving additional damage or some stunnage towards weaker balloons. I don't know, a sort of a way to incorporate Heart of Thunder with the thorns that are grown throughout the entire track. And also you should have some sort of synergy as to why you should buy 052 in other scenarios. Aside from giving more range, obviously the default attack that it throws out has a higher attack speed. I was about to say having Heart of Vengeance could allow the Spirit Forest thorns on the track to grow outwards at a faster rate, but then the benefits of that would just wear off very quickly. I don't know, the Mad is a very interesting tower. It is after all one of only 2 towers to be able to do a 2TC outside of a Geraldo 2TC on the map Infernal. The other tower being Pop and Ore, specifically 250, because in my head, and I don't know if you would agree with me on this one, 250 provides better short-term damage, but the 052, which is burning stuff, provides more long-term damage. So it does better single target damage, but in the short run, 250 would do better single target damage. In particular against ceramic problems, which is obviously where the Mad has a lot of problems dealing with. Now, do we just stick with this or do we go on first now? No, we're about to... Yep, the strongest target are now these Moabs, which means the stick bombs will be able to go... Stick bombs. God, I'm thinking like an orc. Stick bomb! Move! Right, camo prioritization, you're going to come in. You're not necessarily going to target the first DDT on the screen, but you're going to target the ones that are still going to be camouflaged at that given point in time, and that is a wrap for the round. It just meant that we could always target a DDT that is close by, that's not decamouflaged by the Energizer. Okay, speaking of which, yeah, when I talked about Marv's getting to this point of the track, yeah, we shouldn't have let him do that. So after these BFBs, or the first 2 sets of BFBs have been destroyed, then we'll move on to these fortified Moabs, and hopefully the rest should be easy from there. Our first defeat is round 96, I'm quite impressed. Is it a missile? No, Patrick, we're playing with the Energizer, not the preemptive strike. Is missile an instrument? No, but what? How the hell did you come to missile being an instrument? Was mayonnaise an instrument? No, Patrick. Mayonnaise is not an instrument. Round 98. The big F-off round to say that if you can't do this round, then you're stuffed, regardless of how much single target damage that you have. If you're not able to deal with all of this, then, yeah, the rest of the run might not go so smoothly. Okay, I do want to take care of the fortified Moabs first so that we can get them all done and dusted as soon as possible. Hopefully there are no more fortified targets, which means that when it comes to the ceramic layer, the Energizer only needs to do half the amount of work. And for goodness sakes, is it just round 96 that's going to cause us a death in this run? I think that's going to be the case, because the rest of this run should be easy now. Okay, fortified DDT is obviously not a chance against us whatsoever, and yeah, that's good. It's only round 96 that gave us an issue, and that's just because I was stuck. Well, I kept the Master Bomber on the strong prioritization there, and we didn't even get to the first full circle here, or completed the first full circle, and the bad is instantly taken care of, securing the victory for us. 0 cash generated. Yes, this is CHIMPS after all. So that, folks, was a pretty smooth sailing scenario here. Aside from one hiccup, I managed to do this flawlessly. With one hiccup, so not flawless. Do you know the definition of flawless? It means you just went for round 6 or 100 without a single break and you didn't lose a single time, as if you played a real game of chimps, but that's just a simulation because it's in the challenge editor sort of thing. Have fun with that and tell me the results. What if you reverse the cross pathing? Could you still get the same results? I like to think that you could, but the ceramics would be a little bit more work. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. Please let me know what you thought of the video down in the comment sections below. And yeah, sort of that boss event. People say that it's easy. I don't know what to say, really. It's on Ouch, like a true expert map, and people say that it's so easy. I don't know what to say, really. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody, and take care of yourselves. And I heard if you like the video, you'll be granted guaranteed success against Elite Lich. I managed to somehow do it on normal, but yeah, Elite, no thank you.